Hi, Jennifer Pace here for Sizzix, and today I want to share with you these really cute triangle-shaped boxes that look like piñatas. And I'm going to show you how to make these with the Sizzix Eclipse 2 DIY electronic cutter. So let's get started. In the eCal software, I have it open and I've pulled up the ukulele shape that I want to use in the library. If you don't have the ukulele shape or you want to use something else, you can go to the eShape store right there from the software by clicking the eShape store icon. So first you're going to click on the ukulele, and I just like to work with it just a little bit bigger. So holding down the shift key and this bottom double arrow key, you can pull that down to the right and that's going to make it larger. It's going to keep the aspect ratio the same. If I was to pull on this without the shift key, you can see that it does all kinds of weird distorting. So I'm just going to click undo to fix that. I'm going to make a couple copies of this by doing Control C and then Control V a couple times, because what I want to do with this ukulele is break it apart so that each different piece of it is a different color. Now first I'm going to start with the background of the ukulele. I'm going to have 5 different colors on here, but I can get 2 pieces that I need out of this one ukulele. Or actually I'm going to go to Object, Break Apart, and then I'm going to pull off this background piece that I need and also this little bottom piece that I need, and then delete all the rest of the stuff. Now this background piece is going to be what I'm going to build all the other pieces of the ukulele onto. So I will glue all those pieces onto this once everything is die cut. Now to make things a little simpler, I'm going to go ahead and color code everything so that I know what color I need to cut everything out of when I'm ready to cut. It just helps with keeping everything organized and just making it a lot simpler for you to visualize what it will look like once it's actually cut out before you even put knife to paper. So over here on the far right hand side is a little picture of a palette. Click on that and then you have the options for fill and stroke. This opens the fill and stroke menu. For fill, click color. It's automatically white, so what I'm going to do is click on the little box that the color is in and then change that color to black. That's what I want this base to be, is black. Now for the little bottom piece here that holds the strings on the ukulele, I'm going to change that one to yellow. Again, I'm just designing it here within the software. It just helps me to helps make it easier to visualize the final product, as well as make sure that I've got all of my pieces separated apart from the ukulele, so that when I go to cut, I have everything done. I don't have to go back and do anything else. So for this next part, what we're going to do is use the knife tool, and I'm going to zoom in just a little bit so that I can see what I'm doing here with the knife tool. I want to cut this apart. I can take this one ukulele and cut it up to create all the pieces that I need for the project. So I'm going to show you how to do that with the knife tool. I have a couple extra ukuleles here just in case I make up too many mistakes. It doesn't hurt to have extras, and then you can just delete them if you're not going to use them. I'm going to click over here on the knife tool. It looks like a little craft knife over here on the left hand side, and then I'm just going to click to the left and then drag the line across to the right of where I want this cut. Now you're not going to see a cut line. You're going to be able to see the pieces once you break this apart. So you're going to go to Object and then Break Apart. Now you'll see that this piece is separate from this piece. See how the bounding boxes around them? If I move it, you'll be able to see that it's 2 separate pieces. I don't want to move it. I want to keep it all together. So there are some pieces that I don't need drawn onto this ukulele front. One of them is this piece because I'm cutting that out of yellow. But I do need to keep these lines intact. Now up here, I need to keep all of these lines and circles intact as well. So what I'm going to do is select all of this, kind of move it out of the way a little bit, and then down here I'm going to select this, and I don't want to have this opening right here at the top of my shape. So the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and close the path. So just go to Path and click Close Path, and that will close it off. The same with this one up here at the top. I don't want to have the opening down on the bottom, so I'm going to go ahead and click Path, Close Path. Now these are ready for the next step. You can see here that there's a little bit of a jagged edge there on the very top of the ukulele body. So to fix that, I'm going to edit the points. I'm going to choose the shape tool and then click on here, and I can see the different points. I'm going to select that point that's sticking up, right click and hit delete, and that's going to smooth everything out. So now you can see it's a lot smoother. There's also another little extra bump right here that I can probably delete as well. So let's see what happens there. If I delete that, whoops, wrong thing. All right, I just want to delete the node. All right, so now everything looks more smoothed out. I'm going to zoom back out by hitting Control minus. And now I want to group all of this together so that it all cuts out as one piece, just in case I decide to move it or something like that. So I'm going to go back to Object, Group, and I want to fill it with the color that I want to cut it out of. So I'm going to click Color and then Hot Pink. Now for the fingerboard and this upper part where the strings attach on my ukulele, I want to go ahead and group everything again. Object, Group, just to kind of make things a little bit simpler. And I'm going to take my knife tool now and I'm going to cut the fingerboard away from this top part. I want the top part to be green. I want the fingerboard to be yellow or kind of a brown color. So I'm just going to do my knife tool across there. Again, you're not going to see it right away. So I'm going to click Object, Ungroup, and I'm going to select this top part and group that all together. Object, Group. I'm going to select this bottom parts. Whoops, I want that outside. Object, Group, all together. So now these are all separate pieces, but I still need to close the path. So I'm going to click on each object, click Path, close Path, to close the path on all of the pieces. So again, closing the path here. Now this fingerboard, I want that to be brown. So I'm going to choose from the fill and stroke menu a brown color for the fingerboard. And then for this upper part, I want the fill color to be green. So I'm going to choose green. And I notice that there's kind of a little bit of a bump down here at the bottom as well. Again, I can go in and zoom in and clean that up just a little bit. So edit the points here. I might need to ungroup in order to make that happen. There we go. All right, so I want to delete that little point and I want to delete this extra little point down here. And now you can see it's all smoothed out across the bottom there. And I don't need any of these extra ukuleles that I saved, so I'm going to move those. And then the final thing is that my ukulele is way too big for my project. So I'm just going to overlay all the pieces kind of here on top. Whoops, I need to regroup that. So if you move something and you see that you forgot to regroup it, just undo and then group it where it needs to go. Group it and then you can move it where it needs to go. All right, so I'm going to kind of lay all my pieces out so that I can visualize this. And then all together, I'm going to select all of it and change the size. Now there's a couple of different ways you can do this. One is you can just drag the corners, or if I want to make sure that it's a certain size, like say my box, the label I'm going to put on top of my box is 3 inches wide and 3 inches tall. I might want to make sure that my ukulele is like maybe 4 inches tall. So what I can do is down here in the position and size menu, I can go to the width and the height. Make sure that I have the box checked to keep proportions. That way if I decide to change the height to 4, it will automatically change the width in proportion to the height so that my shape is not distorted. So I click 4, click enter. You can see right there in the box that it's kept the width at a same proportion to the height as it was originally. And now I can go ahead and move all of my pieces apart off of here. And I like to kind of drag them off of the screen so that I have them, and then use the duplicate feature to create multiples. So I'm going to go to Object, Duplicate, and let's say I'm doing this for a party. Maybe I need to make 15 of these or whatever. So I'll click OK by using that duplicate menu, and I'll repeat the same process for each one of these different items on a different color of cardstock. That way I can cut out multiples at once. I have all my little pieces there, and then once they're all cut, I can assembly line it. So I'm going to show you how to do that next in the rest of the video. Hold several layers of tissue paper together with clips and then cut 2-inch wide strips Fold these strips up, and you're going to use the Sizzix Big Shot Plus and the Sizzix Flowers 3D No. 2 die by Eileen Hull to cut fringe. So here you can see that I've cut the fringe out, and you're going to do all the layers at one time. It works really, really well. Next, fold up the long triangle boxes cut with the Sizzix Eclipse 2. Use the hot glue gun to secure the tab, and now it's ready for the fringe. Wrap the fringe around the box and secure it in place with hot glue. Then work your way up about 1 inch up each time, adding another layer of fringe. I wrapped each color of fringe around the box twice to give it a lot more volume and make it look really pretty. If your tissue is thin, then you'll definitely need to wrap it around 2 or 3 times so that the color of the box doesn't show through. Continue wrapping all the way until you get to the very, very top of the box. I used hot glue because it dries fast, but you can also use a white glue if you like that. Next, add fringe to the lid to complete the entire look. You'll also want to use your hands to gently crumple up the tissue a little bit to make it look more authentic. Now, all the pieces from the ukulele and the little label that we're going to mount it on need to be inked. So use your favorite ink and applicator to apply ink to the edges to give everything a little bit of dimension. Next, you'll assemble all of the pieces together with your favorite white glue. I'm using Tombow Mono Multi-Liquid Glue because it's really, really sticky. So here you can see my cute little ukuleles, they're ready. Then I added them to the little base label shape using some foam squares, and then added that to the pinata box using more foam squares. And now they're ready for a party and for you to fill with lots of fun, yummy treats. I really hope that you enjoyed this pinata inspired box and that you make them for your next fiesta.